Some family secrets don't explode because they're new. They explode because someone finally says them out loud. And in this moment, it wasn't a stranger, a blogger, or an outsider who reopened the wound. It was Towanda, according to People. Close to the situation, Tamar was already emotionally exhausted trying to stabilize her life, protect her peace, and keep old chapters from reopening. But when Towanda spoke, the room didn't just get quiet. It shifted, because the name that surfaced wasn't random. It was Mendeecees. And once that name entered the air, there was no way to pretend this was just a rumor anymore. This became a family moment, a trust moment, a breaking point, and the question isn't just what happened. The real question is, why did it get said now? Let's start with what viewers and listeners claim happened in real time. A conversation was already happening online. People were discussing alleged receipts, screenshots, DMs, and audio clips shared by someone who requested anonymity. According to the hosts describing it, the person claimed they were blocked quickly, and that they had documentation of private messages that allegedly showed flirtation and implied intent. Now, let's be responsible. We cannot confirm the authenticity of those screenshots or voice notes. We can only describe what was claimed in the conversation. But here's the key. Even the idea that receipts exist changes the energy. Because once the internet believes there's proof, real or not, people stop asking, is it true? And start asking, who knew? Who stayed quiet? And why is this coming out now? And that's exactly where things allegedly got personal for Tamar. Because the moment Towanda spoke didn't sound like gossip. It sounded like a sister speaking from a place of memory, discomfort, and years of silence. According to sources describing the moment, Tamar didn't expect it from Towanda. And that's what made it hurt more. Strangers talking. Tamar can handle that. She's been in the public eye long enough to survive outside noise. But a sister isn't outside noise. A sister is a witness. Tamar and Towanda don't just share blood, they share history. They've seen each other's highs and lows. They've lived through private moments that never made it to cameras. They've had conversations where family loyalty didn't just suggest silence. It demanded it. That context matters because when Towanda spoke, it wasn't a random accusation. It was a reframing of the past. And according to the transcript you provided, Tamar's immediate reaction wasn't screaming or attacking. It was disbelief. Why would you say this now? That line is important because it shows Tamar wasn't only reacting to the claim. She was reacting to the timing. Because timing is what makes something feel like betrayal. If you want to understand why Tamar reportedly broke down, you have to understand the emotional conditions that existed before the words were even said. Tamar, according to this narrative, wasn't standing on solid ground. She was worn down emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You know, that kind of exhaustion, where you don't have the energy to explain yourself anymore. Where even the thought of defending your timeline feels like a punishment. That's the kind of space this moment allegedly entered. And when you're already exhausted, it doesn't take a new disaster to break you. Sometimes it's just one sentence. From the wrong person, the wrong time. Your transcript highlights something psychologically real. Tamar has often processed pain outwardly. Towanda has often processed pain inwardly. That difference creates a dangerous gap. Because Tamar may assume, if it mattered, she would have told me directly. And Towanda may assume, if she cared, she would have noticed my discomfort. Now imagine years of small signals, hesitations, changes in energy. Little comments that were never treated as serious. Tamar assumed time would heal it. Towanda began to feel time was burying it. And when people bury discomfort for too long, it doesn't disappear. It turns into resentment, then conscience, then urgency. So when Towanda finally spoke, it wasn't only about Mendeecees. It was about what Towanda felt she carried alone. According to this narrative, Towanda didn't come in loud. She came in calm, and calm can be more. devastating than anger, because anger feels like an impulse. Calm feels like certainty. Towanda reportedly described overlaps, timing, confusion, and unfinished conversations, things Tamar may have minimized or believed were settled. But Towanda's framing, again, per the provided transcript, was not, "You lied." It was, "The story is incomplete." And incomplete is a word that destabilizes everything because it suggests you moved on. But I didn't. You called it resolved. Oh, it wasn't for me. This is one of the strongest retention beats in your transcript. Towanda reportedly admitted she wasn't planning to speak until Tamar referred to the situation as resolved. That changes the motive. It reframes this as a response to narrative control, not random betrayal. From Towanda's alleged point of view, resolve sounded like erasure of her discomfort. From Tamar's point of view, resolve was survival. And that's where audiences lean in, because both motives feel human. One wants closure. One wants acknowledgement. And when those collide, it doesn't matter who is right first. It matters who feels safe. The transcript describes a subtle but brutal shift. As Tamar tried to defend herself, she felt the room lean toward unanswered questions. That's a very real dynamic. Once a narrative feels shaky, people stop hearing your explanations as truth. They hear it as damage control. So Tamar's voice trembles, not necessarily because she's hiding something, but because she realizes she's losing control of the story. And the worst part? This isn't strangers deciding her. It's truth. It's family energy changing in front of her. This is the moment the story grows bigger than Towanda versus Tamar. Because once other family members privately admit they sensed tension in the past, it becomes less about one sister speaking out of turn, and more about a family pattern collapsing. A pattern where people avoid hard conversations to keep peace. But the cost of avoiding hard conversations is that everyone holds different versions of the same truth, side by side, unreconciled for years. And when that finally breaks, the fallout isn't clean, it splinters. Here is where you must handle the topic carefully for YouTube. The transcript suggests Mendeecees' name resurfaced as a focal point, not necessarily because of proven new facts, but because unresolved stories become louder when there's alleged receipts circulating. And once an online audience believes there are DMs, voice notes, or screenshots, the internet does what it always does. It builds timelines, it assigns motives, it chooses villains. It punishes silence, even if nobody has verified anything. That's why Tamar allegedly felt cornered, because she's now in a position where if she speaks, she fuels the fire. If she stays quiet, she looks guilty. That's an impossible PR trap. The transcript captures something important. The fallout didn't arrive as headlines first. It arrived as energy.side glances, lower voices, careful questions, people bracing when Tamar enters the room. That's the type of hurt that doesn't go viral, but it changes families permanently. And the hardest part, it's not public judgment. It's the quiet reshaping of relationships you believed were unbreakable. Because family doesn't reset like headlines. Pain doesn't expire when the internet moves on. Tamar's internal tug-of-war. It's one of the strongest emotional arcs here. Guilt for crying, guilt for wanting it to stop, guilt for feeling blindsided, guilt for not knowing what truth even means when multiple people remember the past differently. Towanda's side isn't easy either. Speaking up didn't bring relief. It brought consequences. Some people called her disloyal. Others called her brave. But either way, she became the one who started it. And that label isolates you. Even when you believe you had to speak, the transcript ends on a psychologically sharp note. The final twist isn't another claim. It's understanding. Tamar starts to realize Towanda wasn't trying to rewrite history. She was trying to be released from it. That realization doesn't erase the pain, but it reframes it. Because if Towanda carried this for years, then Tamar's closure was one dash-sided dot. And Tamar has to face something many people don't want to admit. Closure isn't real if it only belongs to one person. Now we reach the point where your script turns into a retention engine. Tamar has two options. Option A, protect peace through distance, defend her version, avoid reopening, let time dull the edges. Option B, risk truth through conversation, open dialogue with no guarantee of safety. No guarantee of being understood. No guarantee it won't break what's already fragile. And your transcript gives a powerful line that functions as the cliffhanger. I don't know if I can forgive this yet, but I don't want to pretend it didn't matter. That isn't a rejection. That isn't forgiveness. That's an opening, and openings are terrifying. This story pauses here, not because it's finished, but because the next chapter depends on choices that can't be rushed. Tamar's tears weren't weakness. They were the sound of something long buried finally breaking the surface. Towanda's words weren't just about the past. They were about the cost of carrying it alone. And now both sisters are standing in the aftermath, deciding whether honesty heals or whether it finally breaks what was already fragile. Now, I want to ask you something respectfully. If you were Tamar, would you protect your peace by stepping back, even if it meant never fully resolving the tension? Or would you risk reopening old wounds just to give everyone a chance to be heard? And if you were Towanda, would you have stayed silent longer for the sake of harmony, or spoken up the moment the weight became too heavy? Drop your thoughts in the comments, keep it respectful, because this isn't just a celebrity story. This is what happens when silence stops working.